Hey everybody! So it's my day off today. Yesterday was also my day off. Adam picked up a shift this afternoon, so he's not here helping, but he would be if he were here. And I thought to myself, what should I do with my day off here in the middle of October when things are kind of slow and you don't have a lot of shifts? I should prepare for when it's gonna get crazy with the holidays, which is probably only about a month away. Probably about mid-November, and things will get crazy for like the last 6 weeks of our program. So I decided to do a little bit of meal prep for the long term. So I'm gonna make some freezer meals today. Now I decided to make lasagnas. For me, that means making spaghetti sauce from scratch. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody has to make it from scratch, but that's the way my mom and my grandma have always done it, and I just like it better. So I make spaghetti sauce from scratch. I have to make twice the mess, sort of, to make our lasagnas because Adam has a gluten intolerance, and so I need gluten-free lasagna noodles, which are currently boiling right now, and my regular noodles, which I'll do in a minute. Right now I've got mini loaf pans, aluminum foil because lasagna is messy, and this way I don't have to clean a pan. And sure, I might be slowly destroying the environment, but I'm not doing it alone, so I guess there's that. Also, I just don't have time to scrub and soak pans when we're working as many hours as we will be. I cover them with foil and I label them gluten-free lasagnas or regular lasagnas. You can also write the instructions for baking on them. For us, it's usually preheat the oven to 350, 400 if you want it to be a little bit shorter time because you're impatient, or if you know that your oven is actually cooler than it says it is, which I'm pretty sure ours is. So usually I cook ours at 400 for about an hour if they come right out of the freezer. Sometimes it takes a little longer. If not, if you're making them fresh, like I'll probably make myself an extra one to have for dinner tonight, and I will cook that at like 350 for half an hour till the cheese is all bubbly and delicious. So I've got my sauce over there, my noodles. I'm going to turn them off now so that they can start to get ready for me to use. I don't know how everybody else makes lasagna, but I do it the cheap way, and that's with cottage cheese instead of ricotta because ricotta is more expensive. And then I've got mozzarella. I like the finely shredded just because it melts a little bit more evenly and it's easier to like get all over and covered. I like my lasagna cheesy. And we've got shredded Parmesan cheese as well. So let's get to this. All right, I should add one more prep step that you need. You need to make sure that you've cleared out some space in your freezer. I've got some on my lower level because freezer meals, right? So you need to have room in your freezer. First things first, I put a little bit of sauce in each loaf pan in the very bottom for a couple of reasons. First of all, everything's better with more sauce, and I like my lasagnas nice and juicy. And second, you don't want your noodles sticking to the bottom of your pan because that's just not going to be tasty for anybody. So, sauce down, and I'm going to put a noodle in. And normally I would have Adam here, who would be like my special assistant, and he would do one of the things while I did the others, and this would go a lot faster. But he's not here, so we'll just make do today. It'll just be a little bit of a longer process, but I won't record myself myself doing this every single one of them. I am going to put my bottom noodles in. And how I do this ahead of time is I take a lasagna noodle and I break it in half before I even boil them, because cutting them after they're cooked sometimes is a big pain in the butt. So I try to avoid that. Oh, this one looks, that one's not smaller. I'm trying to find the smaller ones to go on the bottom because that's how the pans kind of taper, and then the longer noodles because everything's not as symmetrical as I would like it to be in life. Anyway, so I've got my first layer, which is sauce and then noodle. Next, more sauce, and I'm going to come over here to the stove, scoop some sauce in, enough sauce so that it looks like the noodle is pretty well covered. Oh, I need another spoon. After that sauce, and I'm just gonna do one at a time so that you guys can see, I put some dollops of cottage cheese, plopping them into the sauce. And everyone can kind of decide. Some people are not cottage cheese people. When it all cooks up and melts, I like it. I don't just like sit and eat cottage cheese though. And then after that, we're gonna add some mozzarella. And again, proportion it how you will. If you're a cheesy person, more. If you're not as much of a cheesy person, less. These are meals that you are making for yourself, so you should be able to decide the proportions. All right, after that cheese, you're gonna put in your next noodle. I do 3 layers in each lasagna. I use a fork to scoop up my noodles because they lay over. Also, I make sure that I cook my noodles al dente so that they don't rip and fall apart while I'm trying to make lasagnas. And they'll cook a little bit more when you actually cook your lasagnas, so. All right. Layer number 2 goes the same way. I put a noodle in, I put some sauce in. There's some more cottage cheese. I am using fat-free cottage cheese because healthy. Oh no, I bought low fat because I don't like the completely fat-free as much, so I usually buy the low fat. Then mozzarella cheese and our final noodle for this lasagna. All right, last layer. We put a noodle in. Now we're gonna put some more spaghetti sauce in. Now, I don't love crunchy noodles, so I make sure that for my last layer, that last noodle is all covered with sauce and cheese so that I don't get crunchy noodles. So I've got sauce, cottage cheese, here goes my mozzarella on top. So again, this is where I will make sure everything is covered. Uses a little bit more cheese on the top layer. Now, this is not the cleanest process. I do get some stuff on the counters, but that's all right. So I've got mozzarella covering it, and now I'm going to sprinkle on some Parmesan on the top. Just to finish that off. Next, I top it with my foil. So, one down. 4 more of the gluten-frees to go. Theoretically, I should have enough sauce to do 10 mini lasagnas. That's what I planned for today. So hopefully that's the case. I might even have a little bit left over. After I do that, so here's our little lasagna. Isn't it cute? I put it in the freezer. You don't want to stack anything on top of these until they have frozen, because they will overflow and then it causes sauce all over your freezer and it's a mess. So don't do that. I'm gonna finish up doing these and do my other ones and come back to show you how it all looks. So here we have it. I've got 5 of my own lasagnas finished. I've got 1 more in the fridge for tonight. There's the gluten-free lasagnas, so I just need to make room for the rest of the lasagnas in the fridge, and then we're good to go. These will be like 5 meals each, and we make them individually because we might not be working the same schedules, so it's easy for us to individually pop them in the oven. Make sure that you would lay aluminum foil down underneath when you cook these in case they bubble over. Anyway, thanks for joining me for some of my meal prep. If you guys like these, I can do a couple others because we do meal prep and freezer meals all the time because that's how we have to function when we're super busy like this. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Until our next adventure.